You see something unusual, or you sense something different. You have a choice to make. You can turn aside to see, or you can just keep going. What will happen if you just keep going? You may miss something very important. Exodus 3 speaks about a very unusual happening in the midst of everyday life. Moses was tending to his sheep when he led them to the far side of the wilderness, to the mountain of Horeb. He already had his day planned out, and he had his work to do. Something curious caught his attention, though: a burning bush. This was no ordinary bush, though. It burned with fire, and yet was not consumed. So then Moses had a choice to make. The Bible says at Exodus 3:3, "And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt." He turned aside, that is, he stopped his course and allowed for what may have seemed like an interruption to his plans, and he turned aside. I don't know about you, but I love my plans. I love to practice music every day at a set hour. I can get very irritated if something threatens to interrupt my plans. I do a lot of things on a rather precise schedule, and in modern life we often have to, as a necessity. But there are those times when God is calling us to something new and different, a vibrant call to us for something He wants us to do. Verse 4 is very interesting. "And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I." God was watching Moses. God is watching me. Friend, God is watching you too. God saw that Moses turned aside to see. God saw that Moses stopped and looked. Then He called him by name, Moses, Moses. Are you paying attention? Have you seen the burning bush? Have you sensed God calling your attention to something a little out of your way, a little off your beaten path, something a little outside of your scheduled plans? God may have a job for you like He did for Moses, and where God assigns work, He also assigns blessings. It is an understatement to say that Moses was blessed. He was to lead the people of Israel out of slavery into the land of promise. God had heard the outcry of His people and was raising up a man to lead them out. That man He chose was to be Moses, but Moses had to turn aside to see. Friend, what is God speaking to your heart? What curious thing have you seen by the way? Have you walked on because it would interrupt your plans? It may be that God's plan is there, waiting for you to turn aside and see. It could be that He is calling you to turn aside and to call out to Jesus today for your salvation. Take a minute and read the gospel message in the description below. Call out to Jesus and be saved today.